the ability to manifest portals. Now, on its surface, this power could be extremely overwhelming, but in other cases it could be extremely underwhelming as well, depending on the abilities of the user and also the limits of the power itself. Now, in the case of Raven Branwen and the RWBY series overall, it hasn't really amounted to much. It's a very useful ability and a useful semblance for Raven to have, but on the power scale wise, she hasn't used it in combat and hasn't really used it to do much damage, which of course the ability itself isn't really meant for that. It's been extremely useful being able to transport herself and other people from one place to another. But for Raven being the kind of character that she is, extremely combat-oriented, that she's the leader of a tribe who does raids to get resources and is extremely skilled fighter herself, there's plenty of things that she could do with this semblance, depending on its limitations. And that's the thing. We don't exactly know the limitations of Raven's semblance. We don't know that much about it, other than what Yang has said to Raven and thus told us as the viewers. So Tai knows Raven's semblance, told Yang, and Yang relayed it or repeated it to Raven as to what she knows about her semblance. That Raven is able to create a portal from herself to a person that she is bonded with. Now, I don't see any reason why Raven would have lied to Tai about how her semblance works, but I think she may have left out a couple things about the limits of her power. Possibly. Or maybe that Tai left out to Yang for whatever reason, but we definitely haven't seen the limits of Raven's power, in the case of her semblance at least. And I don't think we've seen the limits of it by a long shot. First things first, let's look at how her semblance has been described so far in the series. Yang has stated that Raven is able to create a portal to someone that she has a bond with. The key word there being a bond. Now, if we look at the people that Raven has a bond with, or is known to so far in the series, those people are Yang, Tai, Crow, and Vernal. Vernal, of course, being dead at this point, but all people that Raven has an emotional connection with. And that would make it seem that her semblance can only create a portal to someone that she has an emotional connection with. Something that has to be fostered, something that can't be immediate, which in and of itself, if that is the case, which it very well could be, it would put severe limitations on her semblance. She can only use her semblance to teleport to those people. Now, for getting those people out of trouble, or for going to those people's aid, or teleporting them to one place to another, extremely useful, especially since Raven can transform into a bird, get into other places, teleport someone she's bonded with and anyone who's with them to one place or another. Still extremely powerful, extremely useful, but I don't know. I feel like a bond could also be something of a more physical sense. That Raven can bond with someone by maybe placing a hand on them or something along those lines. If the bond is that way, and there's no evidence that it is, but if it could be, that would make it an extremely useful semblance in the fact that if she's fighting with someone, she could place a hand on them, create a bond with them, open a portal behind herself, have a portal open up behind someone else, and use that to attack. And that brings to the next point of, if she is able to do that in a combat scenario, that she is able to bond with an opponent, or even if she's fighting alongside someone she's bonded with, can she create a portal to use in combat? And there's a few things with that we need to know about her portals that we just don't know. Is there a limit to the distance that Raven can make a portal? It seems that the portal she creates right in front of herself, she has to use a weapon infused with her aura, slash the air, and that's how she creates the portal. We don't know if she can just infuse her hand with aura, slash the air, create a portal that way, or if she could just use a stick off the ground and do something like that. She's always used her sword, as far as we know. Or at least as far as we've seen in the series so far. So there's a limit to that portal. But the portal that appears behind or near the other person, what are the limitations with that? Because if she could create a portal and control where it appears around the person, if it appears in front of them, behind them, to the side, how exactly would it appear? Now, when we saw the portal appear behind Crow, when Raven teleported Yang and Weiss to Crow in Volume 5, it was a decent distance away. It's not like it was just right in front of his face or anything like that, but Crow was definitely aware of it happening. He could hear the portal opening or sense the aura. But there's one thing that's been on my mind. When Raven met Crow back in the bar in Volume 4 to just have a chat with him, I'm guessing the only way she was able to find Crow was by using a portal. That's the most convenient way to find him, especially considering she has no other way to track his location. So she most likely used a portal to get where he is, especially considering she used a portal to leave where he is. So she used a portal to get there, but Crow didn't know that she was there until the waitress brought him a drink and he went upstairs to find Raven sitting there. So that means that the portal she created, which was linked to Crow, because as far as we know, there's only those 4 people she's bonded with, it was some distance away. At the very least, from where Crow was sitting at the bottom of the bar to the 2nd floor. So the portal at least can be a fair distance away. And then there's also the question as to whether Raven can create multiple portals. She's only ever had to create one at a time in any fight she's ever been in the series, or any situation she's ever been in. Whether it was teleporting Yang and Weiss, whether it was teleporting herself, whether it was teleporting Vernal, Cinder, Emerald, and Mercury. And Leo. No, it wasn't Leo or Watts. Yeah, it was just the 4 of them. But she's only ever had to create one portal. And I fully believe that with enough control and enough aura that Raven has, she would easily be able to sustain 2 or more portals open from her end. And if she's able to sustain them open, because she was able to sustain it long enough for 4 people to travel through, as well as Cinder to send an attack through, which is something else I'll be touching on in a bit. But she's able to open those multiple portals. She could do something extremely useful with that. She could hop from one portal to another, or her, as well as someone else, could hop from one portal to another. Yes, only one portal will be linked with one other portal. Also, if she could link all of them together, that would make it insanely more powerful as well. Jumping from one to another, slashing anyone who's caught in that ring of death, it would make a great combo attack. Then this also brings me back to the point where when Raven used her semblance to teleport Vernal, Cinder, Emerald, and Mercury, Cinder put out her hand and blew a fire attack through the portal before coming out of the portal. It's not like she stuck her hand out of the portal and sent an attack out, but she sent an attack into the portal and it came out the other side, accurately targeting someone. That is an important aspect. Because as a viewer, all we've been able to see when Raven creates a portal is just a black and red portal that's opened up. But apparently, if Cinder can attack through the portal and accurately target someone, they have full vision, standing on one side of the portal, through the portal, seeing people on the other side. That is something important, because even if Raven could only create one portal, and in a fight or however it may be, if someone else is in trouble and she needs to create a portal to them, instead of going there herself, she could create the portal, have a person move out of the way, and start attacking through it. Or have, since all of her troops are there and they all have guns or ranged weapons, she could create a portal to somewhere, just have them blast all through the portal, close the portal, open another portal, do the same thing again in different areas. It could be extremely useful. But it just shows that either people can see through the portals in the RWBY universe and see what's on the other side, or, and this is something I highly, highly doubt, but it's potentially possible and it hasn't been disproved per se, but that Raven's portals could create a very small pocket dimension so that when they enter in one side, there's a time lag before they enter out the other side. So when one person enters for a couple steps or a split second, that they are just in a different dimension. I don't believe that's possible. Just putting that out there, that it's something that has been done. If you've watched Bleach, there's the in-between worlds that they open a Garganta, I believe, and they can transport from one world to another, but they have to pass through an in-between world to get there. I don't believe that's possible in RWBY, just for the sheer fact that Raven, as a single person, not being Jean with his unlimited supply of aura, would not be able to sustain that much, because her semblance has to operate off of aura, would not be able to leave that portal open for very long. That's a little bit of a segue, but still, her semblance has a lot of capabilities, with possibly being able to create multiple portals, with if we knew more about the exact specifications of a bond that Raven has to have with someone, whether she could create that with an enemy she's fighting, even if it's just a rivalry or just a physical thing by touching them. There's a lot we don't know about her semblance, but a lot that could be known. And frankly, I'm just going to put this out there, I don't really see Raven's semblance evolving much as the series goes on, because I believe she's probably close to the max that we're going to see her. She'll definitely get stronger, in theory. If she continues fighting and continues to have screen time in the series, we'll see her grow stronger. But I more believe that we are just going to see more about the capabilities that she has. Because she is an extremely skilled fighter, and we've seen her maiden powers now. Whether we've seen her maximum powers as a maiden, I'm not exactly sure. Granted, when she went all out against Cinder, well, just the fact that I'm saying all out implies that she put in most of her power, but we don't know if she did. So the limits of her power, at least in the terms of her semblance, I believe are very unknown. And there's a lot of ways that it could go, through sending attacks, both dust, magic, and physical attacks through the portals to attack other people, the distance in which she can create a portal on the other side from whoever she's creating the portal to, whether she can create a portal to an enemy, whether she can create multiple portals. There's a lot of aspects in which this power could become extremely overpowered, and hence why I said at the beginning it could be extremely overpowered, but if all of these limitations turn out to not be true, that she can only create one portal, that she can't really manipulate the distance that it would be on the other side, which, frankly, by the fact that she was able to teleport to the second floor of the bar while Crow was on the bottom and didn't know he was there, really good for assassination missions. She can obviously control the distance that the portal is, but there's a lot of things that we just don't know about her semblance, and that need to be known. So, we'll just have to see how it goes. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any other ideas as to how her portal ability could be heightened even further, or if we haven't seen all that there is to see about Raven's semblance. So, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I haven't made a video in about a week. Sorry about that. Life has been fairly busy, but should be back to it. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.